Hey everybody, this is Everyday Commentary, and this is a Sweet Stuff Saturday video. I want to go through a couple of the things that I got in recently. It's been a while. I was on vacation. So, first thing that I got in for review is the Bel Air. This is a knife from Kershaw. It showed off at SHOT Show this year. It uses their version of the sliding bar lock called the Duralock. I have no idea what the difference between the Duralock and the Axis lock is other than the name. And there might not be any difference at all, but the knife itself has an aluminum handle. This one is the Champagne Cerakoted version. As you can see, the Champagne Cerakote is not my favorite. There's some scratches there, some scratches on the other side, but the knife itself is quite good. The blade is a 1.3-inch blade. It's made of magnet cut steel. The retail price in this knife is $169. The knife weighs just under 3 ounces. I think it's 2.9 ounces. That's a deep carry over the top pocket clip. One weird thing is it sticks out over here. Really, really good knife. Very solid. Once I tightened up the pivot screw, it's stayed tight ever since I got it. Lock up is great. You can see that the Cerakote is starting to wear off here a little bit. It's not because of the thumb studs. I think it's just, you know, taking the knife in and out of your pocket. This is the place that gets hit every time. So, that knife, really good. I gave it a 20 out of 20. You can go read the review. I carried this knife for a week. No other knife, just this knife. And we were on vacation, did a bunch of different cutting tasks. It's a really, really good knife. Like it a lot. Actually like it a little bit better than the ZT545. And that was the other magnet cut Kershaw that was shown off at SHOT Show. Or no, that one wasn't shown off at SHOT Show. That one just a surprise drop. I like this one a little bit better. The other two things on the table, you've seen this before. This is the Emerson Mini A-100. This knife has been tweaked and tweaked and tweaked and tweaked. And so it's now just about where I want it to be. Let's see if I can get it to work. As you can see, it is a front flipper. Emerson did not design it as a front flipper, but there's just enough that sticks out the top that it can front flip. And how is this possible, you may be asking yourself? There's been 2 modifications. So let's go through and we'll talk about all the modifications in sequence, and then we'll talk about the last 2 that let it, you know, essentially act as a front flipper. So the first modification that I had done was this knife comes with not the full V grind. By that I mean it's flat on one side and then chisel ground on the other side. This one comes with the V bevel, or the chisel ground bevel. So it's V ground on both sides, and at the very end on the cutting bevel, they sharpen it only on one side. I'm not a huge fan of that. It doesn't make for great cutting. And so what I had done is I had somebody put a traditional V grind on this knife, and the end result is a really great cutting edge. It's a little thicker than I want it to be. You know, Emersons tend to be pretty thick to begin with, and that's in part because they're basically counting on the blade being sharpened on one side, so it, you know, the thickness doesn't really affect the cutting performance. The reason I don't like the Emerson chisel grind is not because I don't like chisel grinds, but because it's ground on the wrong side. If you want to register a cut, it's ground on the wrong side. So it should be this side that's chisel ground, but it's this side that's chisel ground. And so not a huge fan of that. So I had the grind changed. It is now a traditional grind in every sense of the word. The next thing that I had was I had somebody, I had Andrew Chalette on Instagram, his Fast NOS1. He made custom scales for this. And one of the things that he did when he made the custom scales is he made this cutout so that there's an easier access point to the thumb plate. So that was modification number 2. Modification number 3, I bought a Cerakoted aftermarket sculpted one-piece clip. It is a deep carry clip, although it's not positioned super deep carry. It's an over-the-top clip. It's not a deep carry clip. So that is the 3rd modification. The 4th modification was Andrew had a knife on his webpage that was an Emerson, and it was so smooth. I was just like, oh, I gotta get that. I gotta get whatever it is that makes it that smooth. As it turns out, what he had done was he had put skiff bearings in the Emerson. And so his Emerson was like super mega smooth. This Emerson is now super mega smooth. But in order to do the skiff bearings, there had to be another modification. So this was the first generation of the Mini A-100 that had standoffs instead of the, I forget what it was, some kind of compressed material for the backspacer. So once the standoffs were put in place, they still had the old double detent system. And the double detent was fine. I mean, it didn't make the knife smooth, but it definitely produced a crisp detent. But in order for the skiff bearings to be installed, he had to modify it. So this only has a detent on one side now. And you can see the detent's nice and crispy. So this knife has been modified many, 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 many times. Oh, the other thing I did is I had somebody crown the spine. When the blade was ground, I had them round over and polish the spine. So every single thing on this knife has been tweaked or modified in some way. And I don't know what else I would do on this knife. I think it's probably about where I would want it to be. I don't think there's any other functional upgrades I would do. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the thumb stud, but it just works so well. And like, you can front flip it. It works. And it's not that particularly awkward. There's a lot of knives that have a front flipper that are that pronounced, but it's been maxed out, I think. And the end result is an Emerson that falls shut and is easy to carry and doesn't have a weird grind. I like that knife a lot. The last thing I got was a Synergy 3 light. This is a light from Frelux. It's the double AAA battery format. And this is his latest model. And this light is an absolute tour de force. It is awesome. The sides are cut out a little bit and they give you a little bit of a grip. I've never seen a light other than the two Cool Falls, the Spy 05 and the 005 and the Spy 007. This form factor is, there's only this light and that light that do that. But these little side grooves really do change this light and make it much easier to use, much better in the hand. It almost is like a pistol. The really cool thing was this is much bigger than the original Synergy, which was probably about this tall. And it's significantly heavier, but it's much better in the hand. All of the innovations really work. The other thing is the on-off switch was a little bit gushy. It was just a rubber boot. This is a metal boot. And you can lock out this one, so it won't come on. Let's see. There you go. Now it's in lockout mode, and it's not in lockout mode. UI is super simple. 2 AA batteries. It can run on just about anything. You can get peak performance using lithium ions. The battery compartment is a tool-free access, so you just take this off and then you pop it apart and the whole light comes out, or the whole battery compartment comes out. It's really great. It's a beautiful light. I love this blue anodizing. Just a great all-around light. I'm really glad that I was able to pick one up. The other one was great. It just wasn't quite bright enough. It was 120 lumens on high, which is not a ton, especially these days. This one is a legit 600 on high. So really, really good light. It's super cool form factor. I'm glad to see that Frelux is still up and running. I will say it was almost 300% more money than the original. The original was 90 bucks. This was $250, $295, something like that. A lot more money, but they were crazy values at 100 bucks. It was a great light then. All sorts of cool features. Can't wait to review this one. This one's been on my nightstand or in my pocket quite a bit. Not quite as much as this. This thing has been with me a lot, and it's really good. But lots of cool stuff. I love this Frelux. So there you go. Sweet Stuff Saturday. Go take a look at the website for the review on the Bel Air. I think this is a weird situation where I got the review out first. But I'll talk to you later.